What's up, all my Ewoks, Rebels, Droids? It's Anna, also known as Star Wars Girl, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about episode 7 of Ahsoka. Now, I've tried to film this video a few times, and I could go and do a breakdown of every single scene, but at the end of the day, the only thing that really describes this episode is just boring and a waste of time. Nothing really happens. And just to put it into perspective so you guys understand where I'm coming from, I grew up my parents are a lot older than all of my friends' parents because they had me later in life. And so I grew up watching older movies and TV shows. So I grew up with shows like the original Star Trek and the Twilight Zone and Little House on the Prairie, all shows that came out in the 60s. And those shows, they were very limited on time and resources, so they had to make every single second count. Especially, just to put it into perspective, the old Twilight Zone episodes, all together, when you actually get past the opening intro and then the end credits, those episodes, when it comes down to story and plot, are 23 minutes. Just 23 minutes to tell an entire story from beginning, middle to end with a twist, with interesting characters, interesting plot points, and you get, the rising action, you get the big climactic thing, and then the falling action and the resolution, all in 23 minutes. So that is kind of the standard that I have for TV shows. And then you can have more modern TV shows. Well, even then, they're not really modern anymore. They're almost a decade old, like shows like Breaking Bad or Mad Men, where they're a little bit longer, and you can still get the basic story structure in an episode. And I understand now that people try to argue, oh, well, it's leading on to, a bigger overarching climactic event. I understand that, and you can still have TV shows that do that, like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, back before, when Breaking Bad, or not Breaking Bad, but back before when Game of Thrones was decent. Right? I keep saying Breaking Bad, back when Game of Thrones was leading somewhere, like the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, top tier, everybody was on the seat, the edge of their seat waiting to see what was going to happen. And you had episodes that were stories in and of itself leading to a greater plot point, and they didn't waste any time. Whereas in the Star Wars shows, it's just, what are you doing with the time that you have? I don't understand how this is acceptable or getting approved. It feels to me like the people in school that they just want a D. They just want to pass. They don't want to fail the class. They just want a D. And this really reminds me of the participation trophy meme. This is 100% a show that you get a participation trophy because you at least did something. But with all of the money and the resources going into this, it really baffles me that this is the end result. You have Rosario Dawson, who is a good actress, in my opinion. You have Rey, who is a good actor, in my opinion. You got the dude playing freaking Thrawn, who is a good actor, even though I'm critical of the casting choice for him. I don't think he's the right actor for the role. He's a great actor. So they have all of these people in this show that should be making it good. They have all of the tools available to them, and it's just boring and a waste of time. For this episode, it's Ahsoka getting to the planet. She saves Ezra and Sabine. Balin says, oh no, I'm going on my own path. He lets his apprentice, the blonde chick, go and fight them, which she should have totally wiped them out. You have all the stormtroopers, and then Thrawn just standing back saying, oh yes, I'm gonna watch what she does. She's gonna lead me to my enemies. We've loaded up the ships, and now Ahsoka's lost time. It's like, okay, that could have been one scene. That didn't have to be the entire overarching episode. There's no rising action. There's no climax. There's no resolution. It's just stuff that happens that should have taken maybe 2 minutes. This could have been the first 2 minutes of the episode and then led on to something else. And it just doesn't. And I understand Dave Filoni's background is that he worked in animation and he was writing kids shows, and he does video games. This is very much like a video game plot, and I've said this over and over again. It's you have the characters. Here's a cutscene. Here's a side mission. You go and you play the video game. Here's another cutscene. That's what it feels like. It's like you just finished a tiny little mission. You got to the planet. You do the first little mission. For those that don't play video games, this is usually how it goes. You get to the place you're supposed to get. You fight like the first bad guy, which is like a mini, it's not even a boss or a mini boss. It's like you fight the first people, and then there's the NPC character that you meet, and then they tell you the mission. That's what this episode was. And that's the way that Dave Filoni plots out all of his episodes. It's like a bad video game rendition. And I understand people are liking, oh, well, I saw that in the Clone Wars. I saw that, and now it's in live action. I get it. You can still have that and have a good, interesting plot and do something new. I will give them, they're in a new galaxy, right? And now instead of sand, it's like plains of grass. Okay, cool. I don't know how anyone is getting surprised by enemies showing up on them, because since you can literally see for miles in every direction, and they're supposed to be Jedi that can sense when bad guys are approaching them. So it doesn't make too much sense to me, especially since it's like there's clear skies. You can see Thrawn's bad guy ships coming at you. So I'm just, again, with all of the money and resources that they have at their disposal, this is the best you can do. I just don't accept that. I really don't. It's just, it's an excuse. It's you're being lazy. You want all of the member berries, and you could do something so much greater. Like, it's such wasted potential, and that's what bothers me so much. You have all of this at your disposal, and you're just wasting it. I understand people like it, and this happened to me, and this is a little anecdote I'll tell you to more explain my point. So my father was visiting about a year ago, and we decided, you know, it was late, and so we're like, oh yeah, let's just watch like a movie. So we turned on Aliens, and I hadn't watched this movie with my dad since I was a little kid. So we watched Aliens. We're like, yes, that's awesome. And then we're like all still awake, so we're like, oh, let's watch another movie. And I turned on Demolition Man. And I don't think I had ever watched that with my father. So I was like, oh yeah, let's watch Demolition Man. And I think Demolition Man is a good movie, but you have like the top tier, that's Aliens. And then you have Demolition Man, which is a good movie, but in comparison to Aliens, we're like, okay, there's a big difference in, you know, quality and writing and pacing. And so it's like you can have things that are both good, but they're very different levels, if that makes any sense to you guys. And so when you have this, would you rather watch this episode of Ahsoka or like a good, like a really top tier episode of The Twilight Zone? I'd rather watch The Twilight Zone. I'd rather watch Breaking Bad. I'd rather watch Game of Thrones, because I'm going to be more interested and inclined to, you know, care about these characters. This hasn't made me really feel anything. And I loved the Clone Wars. I liked that show. I love the character of Ahsoka. I love seeing like Anakin. I love Anakin. I love Hayden Christensen. And just watching this, it's like, you guys are really just milking this. Like, it doesn't get me in the feels. It doesn't make me care. Like, I don't care about Ezra and Sabine. I care more about them in the animated show than I do in this, because there is more heart and feeling. And I said this in one of my previous reviews. It's very clear to me that the animators on the Clone Wars and the animators on Rebels don't get enough credit, because they're the ones that added life to these characters and life to this like script. The script that Dave Filoni has, when he's given actual actors, it just falls flat. At least the animators gave these characters personality. And that's one of the hardest things for me to like see and deal with, because I've seen Rosario Dawson give amazing performances before, and in this it's like, what is this? I know that this woman is much better than she's given credit for. Everyone, I mean, the most interesting character in the show is Baylan, and I think that's because Ray Stevenson is a great actor, and for the tiny bit of dialogue he is given, he adds so much more to it, because he's a good actor and he knows what he's working with, and he's not impaired by any prosthetics. It's just unfortunate. It's just a waste of time. Nothing really happens in this episode, and just Ezra meets up with Ezra and Sabine, And Ezra doesn't really use his lightsaber. He's the only Jedi that knows how to use freaking force push, apparently. And so he's using his force push and his senses to anticipate like blocks and stuff. So I was like, oh, Ezra got like a tiny little bit of character growth since he's been on this planet for I don't even know how long, because they haven't even specified how long. Oh yeah, and C-3PO's in the beginning of this episode as a stand-in for Leia. Yay. But yeah, that's what happens. It's boring. It's a D level work when you should be doing A level work. In my opinion, the Star Wars standards that I have are the original trilogy. That is the standard. That is the gold tier. If you have all of this money, all of these resources, all of these actors at your disposal, and this is what you come up with, you're just not trying. You're really not. It's lazy, and I feel like they're just like, oh, remember Anakin? Oh, remember Ahsoka? Oh, remember C-3PO? Oh, here's Hera. Here's Mon Mothma. Here's Coruscant. It's like, remember the Night Sisters? Here you guys go. Remember Thrawn? Here you go. And you're just supposed to clap and accept it. It's like, no. You could do so much with these characters. Call up Timothy Zahn. Timothy Zahn is still alive and working. I'm sure he would, if they called up Timothy Zahn and said, hey, Timothy, you want to write like our show? Do you want to like make a transition from like writing novels to screenplays? We'll pay you all of the monies, and the character that you created, you can write a show for him and plot it out with Ahsoka and with all of these other characters. We would get something far greater than what we have. And it really irritates me how much of a waste it is. But yeah, that's my take on this. So yeah, that's all I have to say for right now. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought about this episode down below in the comments. If you guys liked this video, please smash the like button. If you didn't, that's okay too. Thank you so much for watching this far through. And again, let me know what you guys thought, because I'm just so irritated by it. It really bothers me. Anyways, everyone, thank you again so much for watching. If you guys haven't, maybe smash the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for supporting my channel and watching my content. If you guys want to support me further, go over to Indiegogo and check out my latest campaign. This is a cosplay calendar. I've been doing cosplay calendars for the past few years, ever since Disney YouTube. I think I hurt Disney's feelings, but ever since YouTube hardcore shadow banned me, I've had to figure out different ways to branch out to grow my audience. And one of the things that I was always into growing up was dressing up in costumes, because I'm a Halloween baby. So I was like, hey, I'll start doing calendars. Well, you guys in the audience told me to start doing calendars, but if you guys are interested in backing and having one of these in your hands, yes, you can actually get a calendar, and you guys can have it in your hands, put it up on your wall, put it on your desk, go and check it out. I got calendars, I got books, I got posters. If you guys are interested in any of that, go over to my campaign and back it. It is linked down below in the description. I truly appreciate all of your guys' support. You guys are awesome. Again, this is linked down below in the description of this video. Go and check it out if you haven't already. And guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.